Wexner is Israeli intelligence, 100%. He's the head of the snake. She was like, you don't understand our loyalty to Israel, Maria. You don't understand our loyalty. Oh my gosh, that woman is the most dangerous asset for Israel that you can even imagine. I mean, she is so dangerous, so dangerous, so dangerous.
Illustration for the FBI, and it shows all these perpetrators, and it's based on Bosch, a painting, from long ago in the 1500s. It's based on a painting he did called the Garden of Earthly Delights. But I did it more like from a child's eye so that, children would see heaven on top and hell on the bottom and earth in the middle. So this is what I did. And I'm going to walk you through it. This is Gloria Allred. And here, let's see if you can see her.
There you go. Yeah, great.
She's really like Satan, okay? And then you have up here Jeffrey Epstein. He's in a little UFO stuck on a NASA tower. But I'm just going to walk you through this slowly. And you can see some of the perpetrators and Alan Dershowitz. He's not wearing his underpants, Alan Dershowitz. And the lawyers. Okay. Here's, can you see Abigail Wexner?
Oh, I can.
Okay. And the head of the snake here. You see him?
Yes, and Ghislaine Maxwell right behind.
Yeah, Ghislaine. We have some other really big heroes here. And then we have some really gross co-conspirators. Just going to go through those.
Is that Bezos down there?
Elon Musk. What a piece of crap. Look at him. Oh, how funny. And then here you have Donald Trump, Sarah Kellen. For some reason, something weird came up on my screen. So I don't know what that is. Okay. So anyway, I hope you can see it all.
Everything's looking great.
I made him a very little man, Donald Trump. I'm going to tell you why. I met him with Jeffrey Epstein. And this man, Bill Clinton, came to visit Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein at the estate. This is someone who doesn't count. And so anyway, we just have some, an illustration for the FBI, because apparently they can't follow verbal cues. So I wanted to help them a little bit.
Yeah, they can't follow evidence. Names, numbers, associates, time frames, all those things seem to be void when it comes into an investigation of their overlords.
Because if you look at the history, it becomes really clear that Epstein was part of this larger network of sexual blackmail operations that have existed in the U.S. since the 1920s that trace back to this national crime syndicate. Even though he was working for Israeli intelligence, the mega group is that same syndicate that's been using sexual blackmail to control politicians since the 1930s, really. And this is, the consequences of the impunity for those people, if they've been doing it since the 30s, they're doing it now. It's not something that stops with Epstein, basically. So it's really important to understand how we got to Epstein in order to understand the significance of that scandal, right? Because there are ties between this Epstein, the Epstein network. There's ties to the Franklin scandal. There's ties to the sexual blackmail operation of the White House call boys that was run by Craig Spence. In the 1980s. I mean, the ties are just very extensive, and a lot of that history has been forgotten. And I think people, need to realize how deep this goes in order for us to be able to identify where this type of behavior is really coming from. And it's coming from the fact that our intelligence agencies have been in bed with organized crime for decades and decades and decades. And us, even though intelligence agencies say that they're here to help protect us and it's about national security, they themselves operate as organized crime syndicates. The CIA is an organized criminal organization. They do drug trafficking, human trafficking, gun running, you name it. Just look at Iran-Contra. There's numerous other scandals of the CIA doing stuff like that, right? Their currency is secrecy, and it's blackmail. And it's not just the CIA that's like this. It's Mossad that's like this. It's pretty much every intelligence agency on the planet. In the U.S., the CIA and the intelligence apparatus in a big way is really the real government. If you look at, Kennedy and all the presidents since then, whether it's Democrat or Republican, not much changes. And that's because the real power in the U.S. does not lie with who is president. It lies with these organized criminals that rule over us. And this is crucial to understand so that people stop buying into the left-right paradigm. It is fake. Both parties are controlled by these same people that were really behind Epstein and all of this mess. And this is who sets policy. And until people start to realize this on a massive scale, we will be just walking further and further into this nightmare that these criminals are creating for us.
They've been involved in our stealing our technology for many, many years. But another way that Israel has affected U.S. foreign policy is through blackmail operations. And I would point to Jeffrey Epstein, who was allowed for 30 years to recruit young girls in America from vulnerable, broken homes, as young as 13 years old. And Mr. Epstein, who I believe was a fake billionaire, I do not believe he was a billionaire. I believe he was an actor, an imposter on behalf of the Israeli Mossad. Mr. Epstein then lured powerful, influential American men into his various mansions so that they could rape the girls. The sexual acts were videotaped, and the videos were sent to Israel for blackmail operations against Americans.
If it were proven, what would the U.S. establishment do?
Nothing. Nothing. Too many American leaders have been videotaped by Jeffrey Epstein. There's not going to be any action from the American political establishment. The American ruling class is corrupt, and the American people must clean house. Both parties, both political parties in America are controlled by Zionists. There is no choice.